Welcome back, folks. This is
Welcome.
another Experts in the Loop, where you got Chris and Mark. Are
I'm
you
Chris,
Chris?
you're Mark.
Okay.
Or you're Chris, I'm Mark. It
whichever.
doesn't matter, really.
Which one are we here? Like, are we up there?
We're kind of in the corners. Oh, right up to... No, you can't see.
You can't see that one, but you'll see it on the intro and stuff. But yeah, we're here over at Effects Global, thanks to our amazing friends and partners over there that give us the use of this space. We get to film some awesome things from in the blockchain world, if you've seen Red Belly Insights, but we also get to film Experts in the Loop here. How cool is it?
Very, 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 very cool.
What's not been cool, though, is that you've been off sick.
Oh, my goodness. Last week was the worst. So we missed releasing an episode because of it. So I'm really sorry, everyone. That'll come out next week. Interview with our friend Alex Zenobia from
Gen that's right. Yeah, the awesome meetup group we got to present at a few months ago, which was awesome.
Exactly. So by the time I'm watching this, that episode's probably going to be out. But it was, I had gastro, not even caught from my kid. Usually that's something your child brings home.
It's something AI can't solve just yet.
No,
you know,
it just says rest and drink water.
And this is the thing. It's like we are easily able to get sick and like unwell and all that kind of stuff, but these machines could just keep working in the background, which is cool.
I did plug in my symptoms because I was a bit worried about Tuesday, Wednesday when I was still sick. So I was like, oh, I'm feeling this bit of a tummy thing, like it's probably gastro, and the AI was like, it's likely that, but you could also be dying. I was like, oh, this is awesome. I probably should plug that into ChatGPT.
Well, speaking of the AIs, and we're going to get into this later on, but there, you know, some people might not realize, but there really is a big difference between, and a growing divergence between the two tools, between the two main ones being ChatGPT and Claude. And yes, I do use Gemini. I do use Notebook LM, you know, part of the Google suite of products there. But just with those two, which is what most people are exposed to, we're going to talk later about a bit of a move that you've got there. We're going to talk right now about some opinion pieces and just some things that have been happening over the last month that I want to share and talk to you about. And then also we're going to show some stuff that I've also been building.
Yeah.
You know? So there's going to be some opinions, there's going to be some insights, and there's going to be like these actual things that you can see that AI tools are helping us build.
Let's get into it.
Let's do it. I've got a video for here and I'll just play it. So this thing that I'm showing here is basically Claude remote controls. So I go to my phone, I have to have a Claude instance like active, and then you type in /remote control, but then I can control it from the phone. So as long as I can keep the computer on, like whether it's at home or it's just at the office or something like that, or even in your bag, if you just want to keep it on there, I can go to Claude on my phone and then just control it in terms of like what I want it to continue doing. So if you've just got a brainstorming type idea and it's like, oh, I've got to wait till I get the computer out. And usually I'd bring out the laptop on the bus on the way home or whatever, but I can just do it off the phone now.
So how does that differ from as a user using the Claude application, for instance, like because you are using Claude Code?
Because Claude Code is something that I used to build with, and I'll show you some of the things that I built with it. But you didn't used to have that on the phone. Maybe I think iOS might have had Claude remote control earlier, but I would always have to open up the laptop.
Yep.
So it differs because I'm using it to build. I'm not just using it for information gathering.
And because on your system, like Claude Code is locally run, and so essentially you're remote. Are you remote?
I'm remoting in.
So your computer has to be on in the instance further as well?
Yeah.
That's
now, the thing is, maybe I don't have to have the computer on, because if you have Claude Code set up on a virtual private server,
of course,
and that's just always on, now there's obviously costs and trade-offs for doing that. But yeah, you could technically just go in and do that. So I think it's really cool. And I put up the video and it had my notifications up on there because I didn't edit it, but whatever. So that's one.
Notifications.
I think so. It's like,
so as a user,
you need to see the doctor.
So as a user now, you are able to pretty much operate your Claude Code from wherever you are in the moment. Like you say, you're on a bus, you're in a meeting and someone says something, a change, they're like, oh, could we tweak this? You're like, actually, yeah, we can. Quickly tweak it on your phone, boom, your system is automatically making those updates.
And I want to segue from that into this video here, where I basically did this as a follow-up video to a post that I had. And that post said, life hack for vibe coders: as soon as you're out of a meeting, record the idea for the app or whatever it is via speech to text on Google Docs or whatever you want to do, and then throw it into Claude Code, Bolt, Manus, or your tool of choice for later on. And the reason why you want to do that is you can get that prototype out faster. Whilst it's in your head, I can go to Bolt on my phone if I want to use Bolt, or now Claude Code. But just speaking your stream of consciousness out into the world, right, of what it is that you want to build, and then just throwing it in there so that you can see immediate feedback. And like you do that, I've done it where I've gone out of a meeting, I've put it up on Bolt.
Yep.
When I've gone back to my desk, I bring it up on Bolt desktop and I can see what's been built as a mock-up. I'm like, okay, yeah, good. I like that. I don't like that. Just this immediate feedback loop that you can give clients, but you can give yourself.
That's so good. So you're in a meeting, you open up, let's say your iPhone or an Android, let's say you're an iPhone user, you open up your recording tool or your Samsung, you open up your Samsung recording or your Google Notes recording, press record, take the note, get that converted to text, jump that text into Claude Code, which you are now able to control from your device remotely. And, an hour later after another meeting, you go sit at your computer and you have pretty much something that's worked out by Claude Code already as a solution.
Pretty fucking crazy. And I think just something that is so repeatable. And then
how is Claude Code at managing like instances and new prompts? So let's say you started one prompt and that's doing something and going to another prompt as a non-Claude Code user. Can I create a secondary prompt that's doing something completely different, or
it has to be within the project? So it has to be within, let's say that you've got Claude on your desktop and you open up it looking at one project. Your remote control, you can have multiple different Claude codes open on that machine that you're connected to, and you would connect to each one of those. So you would have to have each of those things open. So if one of them is doing something, you can't then get it to go do something else. It has to finish its thing. You can type into it and you can tell it, and it will just queue it up. But you can't, you can press escape to get it to stop. I haven't tried that on you can do it on desktop. I haven't tried it on the mobile, so I don't know. But you basically, it is in sync. It does one after the other. However, you could just open up other ones, but to get it on I can't open up new Claude codes on the phone. You actually have to have them open already first. But there's going to be ways around that. This is just the first iteration of it, and it's just like moving towards just helping innovators and people with ideas and people that want to tinker and test just to be able to do stuff. So I think that's really cool. A couple of other things.
Very nice.
Build Club had an event. I was on the panel floor talking about community building and stuff. And this is over at Relevance AI. Shout outs to those guys there. Shout out to Build Club. And they were bringing back some awesome.
This was just last week. This is why I was really devastated. You're like, hey, Chris, it's a Build Club event. I'm like, I am sitting on a toilet.
There's Jack, who we had, who was building Tempest. The game platform, basically vibe coding for games. But he, in the course of building the game, has realized that, for these agents, they need better orchestration. So he's building Maestro, which is an orchestration layer to help you manage all your Claude Code and other agentic tools. So that's cool. There's others building stuff like that too. I met Anna, who's also doing something in that space. But it's just great to see all of these people building on top of the tools that are out there to make it easy for us.
It's amazing. In talking to you about all the stuff that you're doing, it's become very clear that you may start an idea in the AI space, but then it leads to all these new things that you end up building as part of the process, whether you're support tools, new agents, things that traditionally we would be going to have to spend another $100 per month on a subscription to another SaaS product to be able to facilitate it. But now you're like, oh, fuck, I need this new layer. I'm going to jump in, build it myself.
In fact, some of the things I would use, and shout outs to Bolt, but I am going to be downgrading my subscription. I'm paying like $300 US a month because of all the things I've been able to build and do stuff for clients with, but I just don't need it as much because I did that for more tokens, but given that I can do development with Claude Code, and in a cost-effective way, and I can just load things up into StackBlitz, which is what Bolt is actually owned by. Bolt is owned by an online company called StackBlitz that provide you a way that you can push your code up. Anyway, so they're still getting, all of that. But yeah, I build with Claude Code, I push up to Bolt. I'll still use it because I still want to do stuff. There's stuff that is just so much easier to just do in Bolt first and then do further development on, but I will do a lot more prototyping with Claude. The other thing I wanted to just mention was that, you see, it's really interesting. So this piece is this Citrini research, and it was one of I don't know if it was their research or someone else's that basically crashed the investment market. So if you're a SaaS company in legal and CRMs like Salesforce and all these others, you saw all this bit of apocalypse. SaaS apocalypse is what they called it, because when
we've been talking about this for a while, right?
When Claude came out exactly with skills, and it was these new skills for legal, for finance or whatever. It's just like, well, why do we even need those companies doing AI and stuff if they can do this? That coupled with this newer piece that I was saying, like on Monday, you know, on one day you read that AI isn't delivering the ROI. The next day you read that it's replacing thousands of jobs. So which one is it?
Which one is it? It's,
right?
It's so true.
What do you think about that? Like when you heard that?
I think like every single day there is something new and innovative that's coming out around the AI, in the AI space. And it is stretching the knowledge gap more and more and more and more and more.
Yeah.
So that puts a lot of fear in people's eyes to then start blaming AI for replacing jobs and doing X, Y, Z.
When they probably just overhired.
When they're probably just, if we look at what happened, again, I mean, we're going back 5 or 6 years now, the balance still hasn't, you know, come about. We overhired back in COVID. There's still a shift occurring due to that overhiring. But then if you go back even further, there have always been ebbs and flows of businesses trying to save money, let people go, replace it with new technologies, whether it's SaaS products, whether it is some kind of new automation, not AI, just general automation.
RPA was the thing, robotic process automation. Exactly. That was before AI, and it was an automation thing.
Look at Coles and Woolworths when they replaced, you know, staff at the front with automatic.
You know, a really good example is that bank tellers. Bank tellers back in the 70s, when they started bringing out ATMs, they thought, oh, it's the death of bank tellers. Actually, Jevons paradox, which means when something becomes more available, the more it gets used, right? So people were thought to be gotten rid of because ATMs were there. I was going to say automated teller machines, ATM machines, but they didn't get rid of bank tellers. They actually made it so that the services that banks provide were more available, that in fact it needed more people. So the irony of that, you know, so this like, oh, it's going to get rid of, it got rid of because the CEOs and the executives and the decision makers said, we're going to get rid of this thing. But they're the same ones that on the other side say, oh, well, AI is not really being that helpful for us. So what the heck, right?
I think there will, I mean, the thing is, you talk to anyone who knows the space well, and it always comes down to the fact that it is still early days for all of this stuff. We don't really know what the future is going to be.
We're really bad at that. Like we're bad at predicting.
And because it's moving so quickly, like every single week, there's something new, that's something that someone hasn't thought about that comes out, or there's some shift in the market. Like right now we're going through a war. Like that's going to have a huge impact on jobs, price, cost of living, all that type of stuff.
It is crazy.
So how do you balance it with, is it AI or is it the stuff that's happening on a different global scale? It's like, you just don't know.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's the key to really watching out for. And I guess, you know, if you're out there and just getting into the space, or even if you're advanced, you just have to, the main kind of skill to have is to be adaptable.
And that's the big thing, right?
Changing.
100%, that is the big thing. And that's when we talk to everyone in the show, it always comes back to, yes, things are changing. It's a mixed match between people saying, yes, it's going to replace jobs. No, it's not. It's all about upskilling. That's the main thing. If you're worried, if you think it's replacing a job, then be a part of the change.
Yeah, exactly.
Prove that you are the one that's up the front.
Replace yourself first.
Yeah, exactly. Replace yourself first.
But before we get to your piece, so just the last opinion piece I think was worth sharing was this video that we'll put out that I think is worth watching.
So the people I'm finding who can really benefit.
This is Jeremy from Fast AI, and a prominent Aussie in the space, and talking on machine learning street talk. And for folks out there, machine learning is a subset of AI, and then within that you've got neural nets, which is like what led us to generative AI, another subset. But in any case, these are big names in the AI, general AI space, and not a fan. Even though he does talk about later, he starts off being very extremist in terms of his views, that it's disgusting that, you know, about generative AI and vibe coding and all this kind of stuff. And it just feels like gatekeeping in a way. He does talk later about he uses generative AI because 90% of his code is now more that because he knows how to steer. But what he's really rallying against, he just doesn't sell the message that well at the start. But I agree with his overall message when you listen to it. It's that we shouldn't lose the knowledge. Just because these tools can do things, we shouldn't lose the knowledge. But I argue in a post that we didn't lose math knowledge when calculators came out. You know, it just made it more available. We turned to doing, instead of kids still will learn how to do things. They still have to do things by paper, by hand.
It's an
right?
interesting
But you have to learn the skill to really be able to understand what the AI is doing, is what I'm saying, and what he's saying.
There's an interesting argument there. So if we look at the math example with the calculator, what the calculator actually did was opened up the doors for more people to understand mathematics.
That's it. That's exactly what I'm saying.
But to the contrary, or the other side of it is there are a lot of people who were in the mathematical space that said that it also then took away the ability for people to understand the theorem better. And now, much smaller scale, but if you apply that to what AI, potentially what he is saying is that these new technologies, they're opening up the door for more people now to understand and be a part of learning around coding, development, software.
Apps look. I understand how, I already understood it, but I understand it so much more.
Yeah. But to the flip side is you look at the developers and the specialists, the ones who were actually in the code, and now they're also taking substantial shortcuts, far more substantial than what the calculator did. And so the theorem behind what they're doing is disappearing. And that's where it's like, we need to make sure we're holding on to the knowledge. It's like, use it, but we need to make sure the knowledge is there so that when it does something that it shouldn't do, you're able to get in front of it as a specialist in that space to avoid security risks or avoid errors and breaking and all that type of stuff.
So it's interesting that there are these opinions which seem like they're strong, but you have to get underneath the message, get under the hood.
Exactly.
And whether it's headlines that you read and it sounds it's doom and gloom, and then you read below and it's like they're not saying that.
Yeah.
Or maybe they are, and I just think that it's always good to be pragmatic in this space. Like, try to avoid the overhype and try to avoid the don't use it at all. It's somewhere in the middle. Like you can't avoid this.
Who's the gentleman that we saw at South by Southwest?
Yes.
The ex-Google.
Nassim Taleb. That's it. Was it? Oh no. No. I forget his name.
Not quickly. AI.
Mo Gadat.
All right, that's again.
What did he say?
I think back to when we were at South by Southwest with Mo Gadat, and Mo Gadat, he kind of had that similar vibe of where we are at a precipice, like the doom and gloom message, right? We are at a precipice. We're at this decision point where we can do really amazing things, or we can start to do really bad things and destroy stuff, whether it's like, wars and misinformation, or even just simply as knowledge loss. Or we can properly embrace it and make it a part of who and what we are, and become experts in the loop and maintain that human loop, be a partnership, make it increase our IQ to do things that we as a species could never do before. So there is that message that always is switching sides of it's doom and gloom, but at the same time, actually this can be incredible for us as well.
Absolutely great. And I think that's really the key to all of this. So dude, looking forward to seeing more of what opinions and things that we can talk about there.
Tell us what you think. Doom or gloom, or could we do something amazing?
Exactly. I think amazing.
Jump into some techie stuff.
Yeah. Let's go. Over to you, Chris. You've been kind of mulling over, back and forthing, ruminating.
All of us, I think we're constantly switching between tools, whereas obviously Bolt has been a big part of everything, and you're still utilizing it. I switched over. I started using Manus most recently. But I think one of the underlying tools that has always been there for me since the beginning is ChatGPT, and I'm very, very embedded into just the normal ChatGPT environment, not even using it, Codex and other things like that. The more and more though, as I play and I see what other people are doing, I'm like, look, I really think I need to jump into Claude more. Like, I use it, it's there in the background, but it's not something I've invested. I invest my time in like I do with ChatGPT or OpenAI. So Anthropic just released an update to make moving from OpenAI into Claude
really
a lot easier. So I'm going to give it a go. I haven't done this.
Live.
I'm right here live. I'm going to shift into Claude.
They've been releasing a lot of things that are interesting. What is this one called? Is it?
So there's no name for it specifically. It's just they've given an update. So I'm going to type in a prompt. I said I want to switch from ChatGPT to Claude. Let me I just realized I'm not recording. Start recording. So I've got a prompt. I'm going to type that in here.
Yep.
So I want to switch from ChatGPT to Claude. How do I do this?
Okay.
I want to migrate all my history, my personality, and memory.
Wow.
Let's go. See what it says. This is just loading here. It's working. It's searching the web. Welcome. Great timing. Anthropic just released an official migration tool specifically for this.
Okay.
Here's the full playbook. All right. So step one, I need to export my memory from ChatGPT. So let's do this live. So in ChatGPT, go to settings, personalization, memory, and manage. So settings, personalization, and
Yep. So that's all here.
where's our manage?
Go back to your instructions.
Oop.
Where's it say?
Memory, manage, yeah.
Review what it knows. I think you're in there.
Okay, yeah. No, it says to go personalization, memory.
Yeah, but just go back to it. I didn't see him manage there.
Personalization.
You're in there, but these are all things.
There should be memory.
Okay. Scroll down.
Memory, here we go.
Oh, managed,
There
right.
we go.
Okay.
All right.
Sorry,
So
I
right there.
can't read. So these are all the things
These
that
are
it's
all my-
auto done. And
yeah.
like you can control it if you're using ChatGPT when it was coming out, people
Short post
is married.
podcast about it has
Wow.
started a podcast called Digital Nexus, which is now called
So-
Experts on Loop.
Yeah, so you can change those. You can get it to delete those, but it will auto do it. Or you can say, hey, put this into memory as you're chatting.
Yeah.
So it is somewhat controllable. A lot of people don't realize, what's in there about them. But yeah, you do need to edit
Read
those.
through it carefully. It may have stored information that is outdated. Now let's export it all. All right. So I should be able to export that? Is that what it's saying?
No.
So,
Yeah, scroll down.
Delete.
No, scroll up because you're at the bottom. Scroll up. Doesn't seem like there's a way. I think you just got to highlight it.
Does it just copy it?
Or maybe just
And copy it. Yeah. All right. Import.
Okay,
ChatGPT does not include your memory. Okay, cool. So
Yeah.
I'll just go
Copy
let's
it.
Go control. Can I do that?
yeah, there you go. Okay.
So we'll copy that.
And then what?
It has an import tool. Go to Claude, import memory.
Claude.com import memory. So you
Let's go.
Claude.com
Claude.com
/ import memory. It's coming up on Google searches because people have been using it.
All right. Get started.
This is exciting.
All righty. Paste your memory details here.
Boom. Add.
Add to memory.
It's going to copy everything but is married.
Yeah. Auto is copying that. All right. Alternatively, you can go manually to Claude settings, capabilities, make sure memory is turned on. All right. Step 3, verify what Claude saved.
Let's have a look. Right, the last tab.
Yeah. Let's have a look.
Right, the last tab. The last tab, Chris.
Sorry, mate. It's still updating.
Okay. All right, we just got to wait and stuff. But yeah, that's pretty cool. It's just a simple export of stuff. Speaking of memory, while I was doing that, the thing is it's got this memory thing. And memory has always been something that we've been trying to tackle. Like you can't, on the one hand, with these LLMs, just have it save everything because there's so much information that is there in those threads.
Yeah.
It quickly will get out of context. On the other hand, what ChatGPT was doing and now Claude is doing, and we can see something there, was it would build facts about you. It would look at what stuff that is interesting here that it should be saving to memory. And at the end of the day, it is saving that from the different threads that you've got. It's not doing it as you're going, which is what ChatGPT does. ChatGPT actually does it as you're going. So interesting to see the results here. Wow. What does that say?
It's telling me even about my home and my house. That's pretty scary.
Chris likes white, natural, and wood tone, which is really weird.
All right, cool.
You're weird.
All right, so
Weird
verify.
guy.
Yeah, cool. I'm happy with that. What transfer, what doesn't? All right, what comes over your name, location, job role, style, references, custom G. Okay, what comes over your name? This is what I want to copy over. All right. A new tip for getting started. Memory is free on all Claude tiers, not just paid plans.
Right?
Is that it? Takes about 5 minutes. Is there anything specific on it?
Yeah, you're done.
Cool.
But like, what about all the chats and stuff?
That's what I was hoping it would bring over, right?
So why don't we ask it then?
All right. So
What about my conversation
all
history,
of my chats,
threads,
conversation history,
etc.?
etc. All right, ChatGPT conversation history, what actually possible? A short answer, you can't directly import chat history into Claude. There's no native import feature. Option 1, export your ChatGPT data for your own records. In ChatGPT, go to settings, data control, export data. All right, let's do that. ChatGPT.
Wow.
Data control and shared links, archive chats, archival chats, export data. So I'm going to export that now.
Yeah.
Surely I'd be able to utilize this export data as a reference in Think. I have to do a one-time code to verify my identity. Let's try that again. Confirm export.
Nice.
All right. Your account chats will be included in the export. Successfully export. You should receive an email shortly.
Let's go to Chris's email, everyone.
Yeah, we'll blur this part out.
No.
ChatGPT, my data export has started. So we start preparing your data export. We will email you again when it's ready to download.
But it is interesting. Just like when you move into a new phone, whether it's on the same, type like Samsung, Google, Apple, whatever, or even like moving across, like how this is very similar. Like I want to move my chats, I want to move my apps, I want to move, whatever it is. It's interesting. Now, on this move as well, I think some people don't realize just how different Claude and ChatGPT are, because
very different.
Claude, well, OpenAI or ChatGPT is much more sycophantic. And even though they got rid of it, remember there was a model that was released and it just agreed and just...
Well, that was the running joke, right, about Claude and Gemini. And they even both, when Gemini made its update, I think it was when it did 3.0, it was the big hilarity around the fact that it was a much more aggressive around calling you out if you were wrong. It's like, no, that's incorrect. Whereas Claude would be like, oh, you're so smart, but actually it's this.
Not Claude.
Sorry, OpenAI.
Yeah, because OpenAI was like doing that. And it's still there is what people are saying. Like it's still more agreeable than not. Just not as sycophantic as it was before, where literally you could give it a shit idea and it would go, wow, shit idea is great. You can get into the manure business and resell that, and it's great for crops. But Claude has always been not argumentative, but it challenges you. It does a lot more in terms of going, well, no, that's not the right way to think about it, according to my knowledge is blah, 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 blah. And sure, if it really is wrong, you could argue over it. But if you don't know much about a particular topic and stuff, instead of it just going, oh yeah, you're right, that's great. Like it's not going to do that, which is
what it should be doing.
Yeah, you'd think. But yeah, so it's interesting. We're seeing a lot more people, regardless of political opinions, moving over to Claude, just given all these other things like skills. Skills is basically a bunch of markdown files that are instructions behind the scenes that you don't need to think about loading, it just does it. And what I mean by that is that I could say, hey, I want to do some analysis on blah, blah, blah. And then what it ends up doing is going, okay, well, I'm going to load my Excel skills. And in the Excel skills, sure, it's got access to tools like being able to use Python and stuff like that and do stuff with Excel. But then it's also got a set of instructions that make it a professional analytics analyst that can use V lookups and all the H lookups and all the cool fancy stuff that you see at the Excel World Championships, that kind of stuff.
Excel Championships,
but
the coolest thing.
Skills is like, oh wow, look at this thing that's doing. But when you look under the hood, it's just a bunch of markdown files. You can create your own skills, right?
100%.
And what it also means is that you can do it in Claude, but if you want to build out your own tool that has these things, these patterns that Claude is creating, you can do that. Now, whether you do it or not, it depends. Do you want IP? Do you want to own that? Do you want privacy? Because effectively everything that you're doing in here, it's private as long as you tick, the whatever boxes, but your data is being sent overseas. So people just got to think about and be cautious of whether they're using Claude just through the tool itself or they're doing it through something via an API, just how they use it. But I see potentially you're upgrading here.
Yeah, so my plan is I want to use the max plan to kick things off. Probably will have some limitations with Claude Code. I'll hit a limit, I'm sure, at some point, and then I'll end up spending $340. But as you can see here, upgrading that, I get an array of features, including access to the normal Claude, Sonnet 4.6, along with Claude Code, which obviously use a lot of, and varying other tools there. So that will be, let's keep you guys updated about how I go playing with that.
Love it. I think that is cool. It's going to be really interesting to see. Speaking of interesting things to see, Chris, have you heard of World Monitor?
I haven't until today. Someone told me about it.
So I heard about someone shared something on LinkedIn and I saw the GitHub for it. So this is free for you to take and then do something further with. What this person has done has built an online tool that gathers information from free sources, and it's a monitor of conflicts. So look at this. In this part of the world, Ukraine and Iran, who were not that far from each other, there's a whole lot of conflict going on there. They've got different news things, although I'm disappointed because Bloomberg used to have, you could watch it streaming live and a whole bunch of others, but
I
it's
reckon
been restricted.
How long has this site been up for?
It's been about a week or two. So I reckon that more people have been accessing it outside of the regions.
If you click on that
only
YouTube link, does it open up and can you watch
No,
it live,
it's
or
gonna,
it's even blocked
stop.
here?
It's going to stop. Yeah, because I reckon that more people have been using, because I used to watch Bloomberg Live. They've been restricting it to regions. Yeah, and I think it's just today. It literally just happened. It was working fine this morning. And the reason I say this, and let me just go through what the rest of the app is. Like, some of the things do work. So Sky News, you can watch, so you've got your map of what's going on, you've got news, and this isn't just for the Iran kind of conflict, although they've got like tabs here. They've got like live camera feeds as well that are available. You can go to like other areas. So let's go to the Americas, for example, and you can see, if it loads, other cameras, you know, these live street cams and stuff. Although not available, great. Maybe Asia might have some stuff. Shanghai, live from Shanghai, what's going on. But they've got all these other news feeds of what's going on there from the United States, Europe, Middle East, and then just markets and like people that like that have come from the financial world. This is like Bloomberg. You know, you have this kind of thing on one screen while you're doing your other work, because if there's alerts or whatever. So it's really interesting there. But it inspired me to create my own thing with Yahoo Finance. So I've got here, I had the live TV, but it crosses to Bloomberg and CNBC, so you're not going to be able to see that. Like I said, it was working just this morning, so something's happened. But this is live. There's no database sitting here. I'm calling Yahoo Finance from a Python library. I'm not storing anything, so I'm not breaching any commercial type stuff. Even if I did, it's just for personal use anyway. But yeah. In what I can see here is the top companies that have gained overnight and the top losers, the best losers. I do it for ETFs as well. I can do it for others. But when I click on that, I built this thing so it gives me some stats. It gives me charts. It gives me a whole lot more information. And because I've come from this world of analysis, there's a particular way I like to look at stocks, which is through value, quality, and momentum metrics. I rebuilt with what I have available, just ways to analyze those stocks and see where they sit. And then I've got news coming in, because it's all from Yahoo Finance, but it's also my expertise in knowing how to do this kind of stuff. I even do it for like a bit of crypto stuff. So people like want to know what's going on. Okay, so Bitcoin being the biggest one there, it's down in terms of its 52-week range. Supply is strong there, and all this other kind of stuff.
But starting to go back up a little bit at the moment.
Yeah, we can see that. We can see that there. And actually, you can do some comparisons. So if I do BTC USD as one, and I want to compare it to the SPY, I can see these correlation type charts. So over 1 year, that's what it looks like. I can go back, I think 5 years is like the most, and that will just like load, and you know, you can see how paired they are. But really interesting stuff that you can do if you have the knowledge. And I think that's the key, having the knowledge to know how to do these things. But what would have taken me weeks or even too long, too hard, I'm not going to do it, is now like, oh, why don't I just do that this afternoon?
So what kind of prompting would you have done to create this?
So there's a few steps. One is finding the data first. And so knowing the different libraries that are out there and seeing that the library is outdated and having to update that library, so that, you know, knowing what libraries, and when I say libraries, Python libraries, or like where to get the data from and how to scrape it and all that, but not me doing it, getting the AI to do that. But you still need to know those things. So it's getting the data first and getting it sitting somewhere on your computer or getting it brought into the app. Then the second one is like how to design what I want the app to do. You have to have the experience of like knowing what these tools look like, knowing what's good, how you want it to interact. You can ask the machine to just do all of that for you, but you're just going to be steered and you're not going to really know where it's going. And you can read the plan that Claude Code, for example, comes out with, but if you don't know, how are you going to know if it's right or wrong? I think that's the real key there. So this is stuff that I would have been doing in the past myself manually, but I get the machine to do it so much faster.
It's also not the first time I've seen you build a type of tool like this. I know you built one very similar before. So you've also got the experience of understanding how the data comes together and visualize it and if it's right or wrong.
And speaking of like building, I want to show another cool little thing that I've been building. This is just a personal one. The people that I've shared this with thought, oh, that's a bit of surveillance. And I'm like, I'm not trying to sell this tool. Although maybe, you know, but put it this way, working in professional services at the law firm, lawyers need to track their time, accountants need to track their time. Now, there are tools that are out there that sit on your desktop and you can just type in as you're doing stuff. You can say, I'm working on this project, and it will just help you keep your timesheet. That's great. The other tools that are out there, when you're inside their app, like there is a practice management system for lawyers, when you're inside that tool, it knows where you're clicking, what matters you're working on, and it will track your time and allocate time against that. That's smart. That's really good. And you can adjust it. The problem is they're only within that tool. Or the tools that are generalized, you have to be manual. So it's automated, but only within the tool, or it's general and you have to manually type stuff. What if you could build something? And again, this is with Claude Code, that can sit on your desktop. This is my activity tracker. And you can see here all these sorts of things that it's picking up, different tabs, different browsers, from File Explorer to Claude Code to whatever. And then I can assign those to projects, and I've got rules in here where it's already got a rule that it knows that if it sees market tracker in the name, I'm working on the market tracker thing. I can click on this and assign it to one of my existing projects. I can also put in rules. So for example, here's all these different projects I'm working on. Here's a place where I can put new projects. I can put new rules, whether it's the app, the window, or both. If they've got something in there, like if it's got WhatsApp, that's personal, sorry. If it's got WhatsApp, that's personal. If it's anything to do with not centralized mail, I put that as Foundry admin because it's relating to that. And then all of these different rules that I can run, and I can click backfill in case there's any rules that haven't, you know, been applied, but they've all been. And what it means is that I can go to reports. I can see here what I've been doing on different days, top windows that I'm on this month, this past week, what projects.
Hours and hours on Claude Code.
12 hours on Claude Code so far. And it's only when I turn this thing on, I can set it to actually be on when I want it to be. Like from startup or whatever, but I'm still experimenting with this. But the fact that this can look at everything on my computer, not just be within an app, and then I can do further things, I think is nuts. Like, I think people that build things, you know, the guys that built it's kind of like the cheating tool where I forget what they were called, but they made a lot of money off showing, like, for interviews, you could be like reading off the screen and it can't be detected. I think that, and considering that Claude themselves have built tools using Claude Code. Claude Code, you build other Claude Code things. If you can think about it, you can freaking do it, right? So just think about what are those things you want to build. If you need help, we'll help you for a fee. But the thing is, the sky is literally the limit.
It is the limit. Like,
so
even myself, so recently with Digital Village, every week they run a lean coffee.
Yes, yeah. You've got to get along to those and find out more about those if you.
They're very cool. So we sit down and they do a big round table. Anyone who wants to come, who's part of the network, can come.
Yeah.
And we talk about topics within the digital space. That whether it is, you know, AI is definitely one that comes up, whether it's crypto or just general development, code, Python, project management, UX, like anything to do with in the digital space. Like we open table and we have like round discussions, whether it's support or thoughts, Q&A, all that type of stuff.
Love it.
But one of the things we realized that we have all of these transcripts from these sessions, and people are really interested to find out what is the stuff that we've spoken about in the past.
Yeah.
So I used Manus in that instance.
Great.
I jumped into Manus and I built a platform that as soon as the Lean Coffee is over, we upload the transcript into the platform. It takes all the keywords and amalgamates it into like a nice little visual identity. But then you can go into the chat tool and go, hey, what did we talk about in that last session? What can we talk about in that session? It was a really easy way to, you know, build some engagement post to those events. Like that's how simple this stuff is now. We can do that stuff with these tools. It's not a commercially viable thing. It's not something that we're going to scale out into be a huge market thing, but it's something that supports a small community that becomes useful as a tool for that.
Absolutely. I think the other thing is like depending on what it is that you're doing as a community or as like a commercial thing, like even some simple tools can be quite valuable, right? Like don't discount the fact that like even this kind of stuff, getting the right kind of audience could be actually a very valuable kind of tool. So I reckon that there's some interesting stuff that you could further build there. Check it out, man.
You mentioned before around utilizing Manus in particular for presentations, and that's one of my favorite things to use it for.
I found out that I used it wrong because I thought that it would create a presentation after using like say ChatGPT because I had like my project in there in ChatGPT, although maybe I moved to more Claude stuff, but like ChatGPT, and then it created slides, and normally I would go and actually build the slides in not PowerPoint, I'd use like Canva or something and manually do it. And I know that they've got AI there, fine, whatever, but
it's a bit hit and miss.
Yep. But I threw the transcript of like different slides into Manus, and it's got a slides area, and using Nano Banana to create images and like, you know, what you've got here on screen, it created the slides after a bit of instruction. Like, oh, sorry, one prompt, but with like the right kind of context details. Like I want it to be like this and use this logo that I've attached, and like, here's the words. It created some beautiful slides.
So I partnered, and I use this quite a lot for other projects, but I partnered with someone recently for a tender. So I had created a structure of how we wanted to respond to things, and then I dropped it into Manus to go, hey, can you create this as a pitch? I'll just throw a couple of slides around what's possible after it pulled that pitch together. And you can prompt it to go, I want to look a bit different. I want it to do this or that.
Animate things as well, you're saying?
Move things around. You can see here, I could just literally drag and drop headlines and items. So it actually does treat it like an interactive slide deck.
So the thing that I was using wrong was that I thought that, I mean, the view that I was in, I couldn't edit things. I could just like download, and it was, limited in terms of what I could edit. I don't know why. But you're being able to edit.
Like back in Manus V1, it was outputting images as part of it, but now you're having full control over the content, the styles,
even better.
You could also just prompt it normally.
That's crazy.
Now, I also love to get really hands-on with designs and shapes and tweak things. Sometimes it is a little bit clunky to utilize this. And what you can also do is export it in pretty much any format you want.
Yeah, Google Slides.
So if you're a PowerPoint user, it exports the PowerPoint with all of the layers, lines, the text, the images, etc.
I think I need to redo the
Google Drive if you want, if you're a Slides user.
Well, we use Google Drive on, or Google Slides, for the Oz DeFi meetups. The next one's the 25th of March. Maybe this video's out by then, maybe not, but whatever. I think we need to be using it for, using more AI to actually help frame up who's presenting and stuff, and like, you know, give them these tools. I think this is so cool. I'm going to go back to Manus. There are some other cool tools out there that are helping with presentations. Chronicle is another one that I've tried. Manus, just because it's got all these other features and you're using it, I'll do some more stuff there. But yeah, whether you're building presentations, whether you're building actual, you know, like analytics and
applications, websites, like it is a very rounded tool.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, in general, just watch our show if you're building with whatever tool you're building in, you know, Claude Code or otherwise.
We'll have more.
But enjoy your journey into Claude.
We'll keep you updated on how that goes.
Keen to see what you get to build.
Very excited.
Chris Unleashed in the next episode. We'll see you there.
Thanks, guys.